Well, welcome to our Park City Market Talk webinar. I'm Ron Wilstein, a broker at Keller Williams Luxury Properties Worldwide here in Park City.
And I'm Dean DeLeon, buyer specialist for the Wilstein team.
And we've got lots to cover with you for our October 2015 presentation. We use the balloons as our backdrop because we just had the autumn aloft here. Lots of fun balloons. I like the pumpkin one and especially the frog one over my shoulder there. It was fun. You go out onto the golf course and people inflate them, and it starts this way and then it takes off. And if you've never done that, you ought to check that out.
It is a really nice event that Park City used to have every year, and we recently brought it back here last year and this year, and it's as popular as it's ever been.
Yeah, I hope they do it again. It really is kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right, we've got lots of important topics, starting with Ski Magazine published their 2016 top 30 ski resorts in the West, and we'll let you know how Utah did on those.
We've got a lot of construction going on here in Park City over the past 2 years, but this past year is more specific to what we're going to be talking about.
Okay. And then we'll give you, as we always do, an update on the Park City market, looking at what has sold and the prices.
And we're going to tell you or give you an update on where we're at with the renovations for the Park City Canyons combination Vail extraordinaire here that we've been experiencing in town.
That's right. It won't be long before the resort opens, so we'll give you an update, let you know what they've been doing lately.
Very exciting.
And then we want to address a question that we get asked a lot, and that is, with Vail putting in their $50 million of improvements into the resorts and combining what was formerly Park City Mountain Resort and Canyons, what impact is that having on the real estate market? Is it good? Is it bad? What's going on there? So we're going to discuss that as well. So without further ado, let's hop right into it with Ski Magazine's results. And leading the top is, at least as far as our local resorts, Deer Valley in the number 3 position. Whistler Blackcomb actually took the number 1 rating, and Sun Valley, Idaho took number 2. But being number 3, still very good.
It's very good. At number 11, Park City Mountain Resort came in. I love Park City Mountain Resort. It's a resort that I grew up skiing on and continue to ski at to this day. And here at number 23 is the Canyons. What's interesting to us about the number 11 and number 23 is they are now going to be won in the 2016 season, similar to the current number 1 Whistler Blackcomb. But these 2 resorts are number 1, where they've separately listed them here on this list. But 23 is the Canyons, which is my personal favorite resort to ski at nowadays. And excited to see all 3 resorts in Park City here in the top 30 here again.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see once the resort is indeed combined for the first full year with the gondola and other things. We'll share with you what it does to the rankings. So as we do each year, we'll report them to you. Now here are some other resorts in Utah. I'm partially blocking a little bit. I'll snuggle up to you, Dean. But we've got 5 others here. Again, just reminding you how strong our skiing is and our snow riding is. Snowbird took 17th position, Snow Basin 25, Brighton 29 out to, or Brighton 27 out to 29, and Solitude, now owned and operated by Deer Valley for the first time this year, is picking up the 30th position. So when you come to Utah, you get the lightest, fluffiest snow, and you got a lot of choices.
Yep, agreed. And all these resorts, Snowbird, Snow Basin, Brighton, Alta, and Solitude, are within an hour's drive of Park City as well. So it really is the epicenter of the skiing world here.
It is. It's great. That's why so many people come to Utah as opposed to other choices they have. All right, Park City construction. Let's talk a bit about that. The construction industry has definitely reached back up to a high level, and that's why we wanted to bring it up in this webinar. $100 million mark was hit in August, actually the tail end of September. This is the 2nd consecutive 9-digit year of new construction in Park City, and so whenever you see new construction, you know it's a good indication of growth. And the Park City Building Department reported on September 29th that they actually were near $106 million. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll report by the end of the year exactly how much money was spent, but we'll give you some key details here right now.
The building department has issued a series of high-dollar permits as well as numerous permits for smaller projects. The larger value permits include an expansion of the Park City Medical Center, which is the hospital over at the 40 and 248 connection on the east side of town. The Stein Eriksen residences, which are brand new, very luxurious homes that are going in towards the top of Deer Valley Ski Resort. And then the development that's at 205 Main Street, which is near the top of Main Street. They've got a new development of condos and townhomes going in there, which right next door, we might add, Ron, is a reasonably priced 12-bedroom home, which has been used as a condo, hotel, bed and breakfast type deal, some retail space in the basement area. But that's next door, available on the market now.
There's a lot of big projects that Park City has had, and that of course is driving the permit values up. The Park City construction industry is in one of the strongest ever 2-year runs. The industry in 2014 posted nearly $144.9 million worth of permits, and the last time the industry reached $100 million in consecutive years was during that strong streak of 4 straight 9-digit years between 2005 and 2008. And of course, the market changed in 2009, went down, and it's been recovering since. So very strong indicator of a healthy Park City real estate market. The record, by the way, the highest year in Park City's history was in 2007, when $239.7 million worth of new construction was permitted for. So in all, what we want to bring out to you is that the Park City construction industry is in one of its strongest ever 2-year runs, and that last year posted 144.9 million permits, and we'll give you the final numbers when we get them by the end of the year, or just early into next year when it can be calculated.
But we're on our way to a number near that.
We really are, and so it's very exciting.
It is.
So let's turn our attention to the market. Each month we go through the statistics, let you know what's happening with homes, condos, lots, sales, prices. So let's hop right into that.
Over the past 12 months, we've seen a total of 1,456 sales in Park City. And now that number is combining the homes, condos, and the vacant land, which is up 10% from last year, or 137 sales.
Now when we break it down on this graph, we're looking at homes, condos, and lots. This graph is picking up with the red bars, October 2014 through to September 2015. That's that 12-month period. The gold or cream color bar to the left of each red bar is the 12-month period right before that. So we're indeed looking at a year-to-year comparison. You'll notice with homes that the number of sales are actually up by about 4%, climbing from 508 to 530 closed transactions. Condominiums saw the greatest increase, a 24% bump, from 590 to 732 sales, so lots of condo action. The lot market, we're actually seeing a decline of 12% statistically speaking. It's actually dropping from 221 to 194, so it's not a huge drop. And the reason for that drop isn't a lack of interest in land, it's more a lack of available property to be purchased. If we had more land available in Park City, I'm sure that would be higher. It's just pretty limited, and that's why we don't see as many sales there.
Here in this graph, we're singling out the homes themselves between Park City and the Snyderville Basin area. In Park City, you can see we had an increase of 10% from 164 to 180 home sales, and in the Snyderville Basin area, we had a 2% increase from 344 to 350 sales.
Now this graph here, we're looking at condominiums. Within the city limits, it bumped up 14%, climbing up to 382 sales from 334. 37% increase, a lot of demand here in the Snyderville Basin for condominiums, climbing from 256 to 350, almost 100 more sales. So That's absorbing a lot of the transactions there.
And I think it's worth noting there on that last screen, for the Snyderville Basin area, we did see a large increase. A lot had to do with a lot of new developments that went in the Snyderville Basin, and those finally have been completed and started to close. So those sales are being represented here in these graphs now.
That's true. That's a good point, Dean. What do you have to say about lots?
Our lots, as we mentioned before, we are seeing a decrease in the Park City area from 39 to 33, which is a 15% decrease. And then in the Snyderville area, or Snyderville Basin area, went from 182 to 161, which is a 12% decrease. Not because there's a lack of demand, it's just more because of a lack of inventory.
Yep. And we always like to look at the average time on the market because it can be an early indicator of market moves, either supply being very limited or buyers resistance or what have you. So we're looking at that same 12-month comparison. Days on the market down 3% to 110 days from 113. In this case, going down is a healthy indicator of the market. Properties are selling pretty quickly. That, of course, assumes they're priced properly. Most properties are priced above fair market value, but within reason, no more than 10%. If you hit 10%, it seems to stop the sales entirely. But if you keep within a reasonable range, then you can expect about 110 days on the market, all things being equal. But prices, everybody wants to know about prices. Dean, tell us about home prices.
Well, as we can see here in this, representing the same periods of time that were represented in the previous graphs. In the Park City area, we saw a median price increase from $1,300,000 to $1,350,000, which is a 4% increase. And then a much larger increase in the Snyderville Basin area, up 19% from $725,000 to $862,000.
Wow, nice appreciation.
Yeah.
Here we're looking at condominiums, and within the city limits, about a 1% increase. You can see the previous year was $539,950. Let's say $540,000. This past 12-month period, $545,000. So that extra $5,000 is about a 1% increase. However, again, going out to the stronger area of sales, Snyderville Basin, and more inventory available, mind you, we're seeing a 12% increase in appreciation there, from $345,000 to $387,500.
And then lastly, here with the lots, though we did see a decrease in the number of lots sold, we have seen an increase in the amount that they're selling for, which has to do with the inventory and demand. But in the Park City area, we saw a 23% increase in the median lot sale, from $550,000 to $676,000. And then in Snyderville Basin, we saw a 9% increase from $311,000 to $340,000.
And I might add, with regard to the Park City lots, in as much as there weren't that many sales, when you see a jump of 23%, it can be a little bit misleading. It doesn't mean that values have suddenly gone through the roof, but what it usually means when you don't have a large sampling, which is the case here, is that there was probably one or two lots that were on the market the last 12 months and not the previous, that had superior locations or, drop dead resort views or whatever it is, and just two sales like that can account for a 20% increase. So our values are clearly going up. I just don't want you to think that across the board that 23% is a valid figure to count on, because this sampling is just too small.
Right.
We put this graph here on here to let you know about cash sales. We're always curious what the breakdown of people laying down their green dollars versus getting financing. You notice it started in 2007. 26% of our deals, basically 1 in 4, were all cash, and then by 2010, pretty much 1 in every 2 was a cash deal. It held that for quite some time. As we moved into the first quarter of this year, 2015, we hit our all-time height, 56% of all sales being cash. Incredible. But you do notice in the second quarter that it actually dropped to 43%. That isn't because everybody ran out of their cash, because there's still a lot of people with a lot of cash. But it is accounted for because There's a lot of loan packages and programs that are available that weren't otherwise available, and the interest rates are just very low. So we'll keep monitoring this on a quarter-by-quarter basis, but you know, people are dumping down their cash to buy Park City real estate. So let's turn our attention now to the renovations. Dean, I'll let you take this one.
All right, here the first slide that we're looking at is the Quicksilver gondola. As you can see, it is in fact going up. We can see the towers from town, and this is going to be the gondola that connects the Park City side of the resort to the canyon side, making it the one resort, which is going to be the largest resort in North America. And they're making great progress. They've got the in this picture here, you can see they've got the towers, the cables up, and a couple of cars on there already. So they're making due to their promise to have this thing up over the summer.
Yeah, it won't be long before the resort opens, so they got to have it done.
Here is the new restaurant that's located at the base of the Quicksilver gondola in Silver Lode Lift on the Park City Ski Resort side. This is the same location where the Snow Hut used to be. But they tore that down at the end of the season and have made great progress putting this new one in with a much higher capacity, so we can have more people in there enjoying lunch at the same time and not having as much trouble finding a spot to sit.
Yeah, that's true.
Which we all know all happens all the time.
Yeah, you got to plan your meals sometimes.
Here we're looking at the base of the new King Kong 6-passenger lift. One of Vail's major initiatives when taking over both resorts was to increase uphill capacity, which essentially means less lift lines and getting more runs in throughout the day, which everybody is happy about. But this 6-person is where King Kong lift used to be, which was a 4-person high-speed before. That lift is being relocated to Mother Lode. We don't have a picture here to represent that, but that will be a high-speed lift as well, which before was a slower 3-person fixed lift that people tried to avoid.
It was a killer.
Unless you wanted to get your legs a little rest and it was a warm day, you know, you go over to Mother Lode. But now, either one, King Kong or Mother Lode, you'll be moving up the hill very quickly.
Yep. You know, I used to, during Christmas to New Year's, I would ski mainly there because people avoided the slower lift.
Right.
So now it's faster.
Yeah.
Well, this is our main topic for today. We've covered a lot already, but we get asked this question a lot, especially as everybody's watching these improvements at the Park City Resort. And that is, what impact are Vail's improvements, $50 million of improvements, going to have on the Park City real estate market? Is this going to be a good thing, a bad thing? What gives? So we want to talk about this. Overall, it's very positive impact. Their contribution to Park City's economy cannot be measured yet, but we're talking about more jobs. We're talking about good restaurant activity. We're talking about improved resort experiences. So everything is being improved here. So there's no downside in that, and that can only express itself through people having better experiences, whether they're locals or visitors. And when it comes to real estate, certain properties in specific locations will be impacted more than others. What I mean by that is the closer your property is to the base of the resort, the more positive impact it will have on its value. So if you have a condominium or you have a second home and it's right at the Park City Resort, that property is more likely to gain in value simply because of its location to the new and improved resort and all that it has to offer. Those who live in homes, whether year-round or a second home, but further away from the resort in Park City's single-family neighborhoods, are less likely to see a gain in value as a result of Vail's improvements on the Park City Resort. Now, having said that, I do want to point out that there are people who hadn't considered Park City who are considering it. They kind of caught the momentum and the enthusiasm of Vail's improvements, not unlike what happened before Salt Lake and Park City got the Olympics in 2002, where just the publicity of that drove people to come to Park City, and that impacts both the single-family neighborhoods as well as the resort properties. The improvements overall to Park City can only improve our town, and that will only lead to rising prices for real estate. That's what our future is, and that's a good future for us. Our limited inventory of homes is also causing prices to rise. Now the big question is, what's a buyer to do? Dean, you work exclusively with buyers. What's your advice?
I do, and I tell buyers the same thing as far as what prices are doing with and what Vail's impact is having and what we expect it to have in the future. If you are interested in a Park City property, now is certainly the time to buy. It sounds like a little bit of a sales pitch, but it's true. We expect the prices continue to increase. In the previous slides, we showed you that the prices have increased. We expect them to continue to do that. So not only do you get to enjoy your Park City property now, but you will get it at a lower price as well.
Yeah, you would be amazed how often we run into people on the lifts, and people naturally go, "Where are you from?" And you tell them Park City. "What do you do?" "I'm in real estate." And people will say, "I looked at prices a couple years ago, and now I'm looking at them. They've gone through the roof. I wish I had bought then."
Right.
So it's not, it's not sales spiel. We just want you to be aware of that.
Year after year after year, we continue to hear that same exact thing.
Yeah.
I wish I would have bought last year.
Yeah. So if you're a buyer, take that seriously. But if you're a seller, what are you supposed to do under those circumstances? Well, you sell it now while the buyer interest is at a high level if you have other plans for the proceeds from the sale. Because when you have the limited inventory and you have the high demand from buyers, you're able to often get a higher price than you would if you didn't have that dynamic. Sometimes you have multiple offers that can drive the price up. So if you have a use for the funds elsewhere, then this is a really good time for a seller to sell their property. Or flip side of the coin, you hang on to your property, you use it, you enjoy it because you like Park City or you love Park City, and it will likely increase in value in the future. So it just really depends upon where you're at in your life. Clearly, the good news is we're not in a marketplace where values are going to be dropping. Therefore, sell now before property values drop. That isn't happening. They're going up. So Park City staged before the watching world, and they're watching because of Vail's $50 million check, has definitely gotten larger, and the improvements to the resort. It's a nice stage to set. This is causing many more people to pay attention to Park City, consider making it their home, or at least where they choose to vacation. So all in all, the improvements are very good for the Park City real estate market and for values. Speaking of the resort,
we're getting excited here. Opening dates are out. Park City Resort expecting to open November 11th. If we look out the window now, it'll be interesting to see if they do in fact open.
It's a bluebird day.
It is a very nice bluebird day. And then Deer Valley, they expect to open December 5th. But again, those are soft opening dates, I think would be fair to say at this point.
That's right. We need the snow here in order for it to happen, but when the weather gets colder, everybody starts making snow, and we can get a couple storms in there, and it can change really rapidly. But you can't tell from this image, but I got my shorts still on. So the weather is really warm. And of course, Deer Valley, unless they groom the mountains the way they want, even if they don't have the whole mountain open, they won't open. But when you get there, you enjoy the experience and certainly enjoy the food. Well, we've covered a lot here. If you have any questions on what we've covered or on stuff that we haven't covered that is on your mind, send me an email at ron@thewilsteinteam.com or send Dean an email at
dean@thewilsteinteam.com.
No, that's right. Thank you for correcting me.
Right, yeah.
If you want us to give you a call, include your phone number and a preferred time, and we're happy to speak with you. No pressure, no push. We're just here for an information source for you. So thank you for watching our webinar. Our next one will be in November 15th. It'll be posted on the website. You can always go back, watch past ones on subjects that we've covered. But thank you for taking the time to spend this time with us. And I've got a closing quote. This is a new thing. I saw this in the park record, and I thought this is worth putting at the end of the webinar. And that is, quote of the month, "The only thing I hate about Deer Valley is it gets better every year, causing my heart rate to rise." That's pretty good.
That's very true as well.
All right, so thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
See you on the slopes, and won't be long. Bye-bye.
Bye.